Hey y'all, hey, we're your Buttons Babes, and we are back at you with another episode.
I'm Melissa Vasquez.
And I'm Melissa Brayboy, and yeah, we're here, we're back at it. We are, trigger warning, potentially. So, y'all, as you know, we talk about things that are uncomfortable. We push buttons, And so occasionally, some of the things that we talk about may be activating or triggering, however you want to see it. We like to say activating in this space. And so, just so you know, putting it out there, but we're here to grow and learn and do so.
Take everything we say with a grain of salt. And yeah, it's a safe space. So, if you have a problem, send us an email or a DM because we would love to further educate ourselves if we're not doing something correctly.
Oh, yes. Thank you to that. And wait, sorry.
Cheers.
I need to hydrate. Okay.
I'm drinking some tea. You're hydrating?
Yes, some sparkling water.
You're enjoying something delicious.
I can't hide the
wherever
the
you
label.
are.
It's not a thing.
I mean, we would obviously rather be having grapefruit Topo Chico featured instead of the lime Perrier, but you know what? We can't fucking find it.
Right? Anybody.
If you have a connection, please
let us know. Send it to us. We'll Venmo you. We'll help. It's our favorite. Anyway, because we're going off on so many tangents. They're like,
today,
get to it.
We are in Tangent City, and our first stop is going to be our push to start.
Yes. I'm going to start. I don't usually start the push to start.
Nice. Push to start, something that pushed the buttons this week. Let's go.
Okay, so, oh goodness, y'all. My push to start this week is really, really good. It's a little emotional in spaces. I was not anticipating this. So, as y'all know, your girl went through a breakup. It's been some time. I'm like finding my voice. I'm in therapy. I'm doing all of the things. I'm really close to my mom. And that's the strongest relationship that I have in my family. And
I think that's a good...
Yeah, it's wild. It took us a lot of work to get there, and I'm super proud of that. And so, I'll vent and bitch to her about some things, and she's going through a lot right now. And I just realized, okay, I'm going to back it up. So, strongest relationship that I have is with my mother. Now, I am somewhat close to some of my siblings. That there's always been some, contention there. We didn't really used to get along that much. Recently, my oldest sister, Brittany, shout out. Yes. She had a beautiful baby girl. Her name is Aurora, and
She cute.
She came out the womb cute. Full head of hair, just beautiful. I'm like, fuck.
I don't, and yes, babies and I do not like looks of each other. We do not. I'll just assume that it's mutual, but this is a very cute baby.
And I was like, yo, yes to them. Good genes. And so, but anyway, we have had our back and forth, but I'm actually for the most part, we okay. We on good terms and stuff like that. And so my sister, she's married. It is her fourth child, finally a girl. And
finally a girl.
Right?
Oh,
she's a boy mom, or she was a boy mom. She had 3 little badass boys. Love them to pieces. They're amazing. And so my brother-in-law, he recently called me and was like, hey, I just wanted to check in on how you're doing. I realized I don't know what's going on with you. I want to be better for and to my family. And so I just want to see how you're doing. I'm in therapy now, and I'm working on some things. I'm growing and I'm learning. And I was like, oh my gosh.
So are you close?
No.
Okay.
No,
I was like,
not at all.
I definitely try to chat to my sister-in-law, but I don't call her this.
Right.
And now I'm in the back of my head, I don't need to.
Right. It was beautiful. At first, I was a little caught off guard. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Right?
But I was like, Alyssa, no. Don't. this is an opportunity. And so we had a conversation. It was great. And then he recently sent me another text message and he was like, hey, yo, just, a little mental health check-in. How you doing? What's going on?
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And instead of being like, oh, I'm fine, blah, 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 I was like, no, bitch, no, you're not. You are like borderline, like going into this depression hole. Like you are not okay right now. And that's okay. And you can be honest and say that to people. And so I told him, I was like, it's been rough. I'm going through some things. I'm not okay. But I know that I'm not okay, and I'm trying to set myself up to not further spiral. And so thank you for checking on me. And from that, it was like clockwork. After that, my sister sent me a message checking on me. My mother called me and checked on me. And it was just like, and I knew it stemmed from him letting them know, like, hey, Alyssa might need some love. Can you check in on her? And what caught me off guard, and y'all, what pushed my button this week, my sister is not a very emotional individual.
Okay.
And she don't do feelings. She's like, you're fine.
I mean, she's the oldest sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's very stoic. She's very, she's fucking Wonder Woman. Like she is, we are both recovering control freaks, recovering perfectionists.
I mean, she's she works full time. She has 4 kids now. Yep.
It's intense. And when I tell you, she sent me the most fucking heartfelt message I have ever, I didn't know my sister could talk this way. I didn't know that I know she loves me. She's my sister. But I didn't know she had that level of love for me in her heart, the way in which she expressed it.
That's awesome.
Bitch, I cried. I cried happy tears. Okay,
but is anyone surprised?
No, they're not. I'm emotional. And I'm going to share it with y'all, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be okay with this. But I literally, I had no words because I didn't know that she saw me this way. I didn't,
that's awesome. Right? I mean, yeah.
I felt seen by my older sister, and I was shook. And bear with me, y'all, while I find it, because I knew.
Get up in this with the words and really give us some tone.
Yes. I knew I took a screenshot.
Because I feel like there's definitely someone who's going to watch and hear this who needs to hear this from their older sister or just in general from someone, and this is going to be their moment of okay, I'm seen through, they will be seen through you. I feel like. And
so we had a whole conversation, but what really hit my heart, because I've been dealing with some standing in my voice, not giving a fuck what other people think in terms of the decisions that I'm making for myself and doing what is
making them for yourself.
Yes. And so, anyway. So she says, you have always been better at saying, fuck you, I know my own worth, than any of us, and have worked really hard to accomplish your goals no matter what. You haven't let anyone get in your path. Not with David, not with Jesse, not with Patrick, and you can't let he who shall not be named get in your head either and make you feel bad about yourself. And it wasn't even the relationships that she listed, and I realized how far I have come, but she's like, what are you doing? You know who the fuck you are. You know your worth. I know, I know, and I fucking see you. You are incredible, and fuck these people. Because for me, it wasn't necessarily those individuals, because there's been, it's not just them. There has been so many lately, and I just you know what? I love and I appreciate you beyond words. I can't express how much what you said means to me. And thank you for helping me remember exactly who and what the fuck I am. I love you for that. And I love that you're my sister. And I'm so proud of you. Because I even called my mom, y'all. And this is the thing. I was like, Mom, your oldest. Brittany sent me the most loving text message, and I'm shook. I'm crying. I'm trying to get ready to. Right, I was trying to get ready to go out. I was like, oh my God, stop. My eyes are all puffy now, and I even had to call her the next day, her and her husband. I was like, I'm proud of you both. You're doing the work. You're growing. And she even sent an emotional text message to my mom and was like, look, I know you're going through things. Please know you're my mom. I'm always here for you. I love you. I'm proud of you. I was like, yo, what is happening? I mean, I know she just had a baby, so hormones are flying through her body. But I had to call and tell her, I'm so proud of you. And I hope you're proud of yourself. And I appreciate the work that the two of you are putting in for our family, because like there are certain seeds that we have been planting and we're watering them and now they're growing, and I can see the ways in which generational trauma is being healed.
That's awesome.
And these are things that I've been asking for and tried to like lead by example and have tough
literally from me knowing you and what you ask for, like you manifest it. So like you yeah.
I've been in my feels about these beautiful moments and even the uncomfortable ones that my family is going through together, and just getting closer. And some of my siblings aren't there yet in terms of being able to do this, and I'm like, it's okay.
We are all on a very different timeline somehow, right? In the same space together.
I was like, you know what? You are where you are because that's where you are. So shout out to Big Sis Britt. I love you to fucking pieces. You pushed my buttons this week in all of the good ways, and I'm so happy that you're my sister. So y'all, long-winded emotional push to start from your girl.
Somebody else needed to hear that, and like
it's like you want that kind of relationship, and knowing like my big sister is proud of me. She sees me. She's like, yo, bitch, like we were on the phone. She's like, you inspire me. Like, and I was like, stop it.
I mean, familial closeness is so important. I think, I mean, like I was on like a family like push to start thing for a minute too. Like nobody can like charge you up in the same way that your family can, because of like how, you know, however much you may or may not want it or be aware of it, like you're so much more connected than even you might realize, right? You know, until like everyone's like turn on, and I mean, I don't know, like now like lots of like nerd Marvel movie like things are coming to my head because whatever, but like yeah, like
oh, that's right, because PJ's in town.
It's true. I mean, the first thing when you said like the clockwork of the phone call is like a scene in Lord of the Rings came to mind when they're laying the fucking beacons of like I was like, yep. They were all like, yes, okay, here we go. But that's awesome.
It was, at first I was a little like, and I was like, no, stop, wait, no. You need this.
Like you've been this. Like you've wanted this, you have been wanting this, you've been like laying down like the like a carpet for this, right? Like whatever it's
Part
called.
of me was like, oh, they all came for me. They've been talking about me and blah blah blah. I'm like, yes, bitch. Like you're
because they
a
love
daughter,
you,
a sister.
like,
yes,
you are important.
That
like it matters to talk about people behind it, or when they're not around, to like you know, like hey, to build them up.
Yes, like has anyone checked on so and so, or what do anybody? Oh, okay, no, we need to do that because we're a tribe, we're a family, and I mean it goes back even to community, like we were talking with Ngazi last week. Yeah. Like this is my community, but even more so, it's my fucking family.
Yeah, so, you gotta like reach out and like make sure everybody's hands are being held, or you know, grab somebody who's just not able to hold on as tightly.
You gotta remind them. And even just when I called my brother-in-law, he's like, listen, thank you for saying thank you. Like, and like reminding me like what I'm doing is worth it and that it's working.
Yeah, because the fight is hard, and the if there's no like light at the end of it, if there's nothing that's like, yeah, okay, I am reaching for a goal, then it's like, why?
Right, exactly.
Why bother?
Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it matters. It matters. So, Chris, shout out to you too. I appreciate you. And so, yeah, sorry. I could talk about this all damn episode.
I mean, yeah, I feel like somehow we got to turn that into a button.
Oh, yes, I'm with it. And I was like, Mama, what is your push to start
Okay,
this week?
so I have a couple different ones.
And actually, wait, because we're getting better at this, y'all. Is there a way to move your mic closer to you?
I mean, like, literally, I have to look it up.
Uh-oh. Bear with us, because we're trying to get this right for y'all. We are...
I mean, I feel like I'm shouting into this microphone.
Perfect. Okay, anyway, continue.
Okay. What is my... I mean, I'm just going to keep it short. I got a new nail polish remover this week. I've needed nail polish remover for like a couple weeks. Finally bought one at Target that was a lot more expensive than I fucking thought for the size. But I only needed one cotton ball for my both hands and both feet.
Stop.
And it had been like a couple weeks since I've taken it off. So you know that like when your nail polish is like...
It's caked on there.
Yeah, it's just... it's, you know, normally that was like a 4 cotton ball job, I thought.
And you told me it's lavender.
Yes.
So it smells
there's
nice,
like
nice.
some oils in it for your hands, and like I'm not gonna show my hands or feet right now to the camera, but like they look much better than like when I use like a regular like acetone nail polish remover. Didn't smell bad, and yes, it was one cotton ball with like 4 or 5 like shakes in to like soak the cotton ball instead of 4 of those cotton ball situations.
Nice.
And I felt like the nice oil, like cuticle shit, like, you know, whatever.
Off the top of your head, know the brand?
Nope, there's an elephant on it possibly, but we'll link it.
It's a pink bottle?
It's purple.
Oh, shit.
I think. Or I don't know what color it is anymore.
I saw pink with a white top. But anyway.
It does have a white, for sure, the white top, but it's like small. We'll link it below, but that was like...
We'll try to link it below. I know I'll link it below.
Oh, I mean, we'll put the name, whatever.
That part. But no, I love that. It's the little things. It's the fucking little things. Like we finally got sparkling water this week. Like I don't know what's happening in the world, but there is. I mean, yes, there's a glass shortage. There's a Topo Chico shortage.
There's a paper shortage. It took me a minute to be able to get some stuff printed for work.
Yo.
And I still settled for a thinner paper than I needed.
So annoyed. Anyway, little things. They matter. And so now we are going to move into our button of the week, which is we always be learning.
Always be learning.
And so I love that because I have been doing a lot of learning this week. And don't necessarily love it in the moment. I love that I am continuing to expand and learn and grow on so many levels, like even on what's going on with my family. And learning and taking relationships to the next level and how they communicate. Like, my mom and I had a great conversation about her love language and what she needs and wants. And so just always being okay with not standing still in your mindset. And so what I've been learning this week has been how to do the technical side of production things, like this beautiful camera, and I'm hoping I finally have the settings right and like the export settings. Like when I tell you I kind of want to hold for this plane.
I was like, plane.
Yeah.
Everyone take a drink. Get up real quick. Use the restroom. Wash your hands. I don't know.
Take a step.
Take a step. Oh yeah, get your steps in. For the hour, 250.
Because we're still working on soundproofing the space. But so been learning all of the technical elements of, you know, getting the show back to where it was when we were
to where we would like it to be.
To where we would like it to be, and growing and moving past where we were and where we are right now. We've had a lot of first pancakes, y'all. And so thank you for hanging in here with us as we figure this out. We had a mutual friend come over and help us.
Kyle, shout out to Kyle.
Yes. Amazing. He's a DP. He's actually about to go shoot his first feature in Hawaii.
Which is incredible.
Right? I'm so excited, so proud of him. We gonna be working together in the future because he came over and broke this shit down for me. I've got things written on the mirror over here, the whiteboard in the other office, and explained, the camera settings that we need to do, our lighting setup that needs to be different so that we can retain the quality that we want, and some audio things that we can work on and show, like, okay, this is the next step. He's like, you're doing great. And it was super overwhelming. It was a lot of information.
I mean, yeah.
And when I tell you, like, overwhelmed and frustrated, and because this is not my fucking lane. This is not what I do, nor do I want to be doing it.
Right.
And I've been in that space of like, okay, I have two options. I'm going to try and do it myself and figure it out and learn and assess my skill set with this and see, do I have it in me to learn all of this, apply it? Like, that's an option. Or, like, do we bring someone on, again, that can do that for us, and it's what they love, it's what they know. And so, like, I'm learning all of these things, and I don't necessarily enjoy it in the moment, but I do love my willingness to learn and try and then sit with it. Like, the next step for me is going to be sitting with that information and be like, okay, am I spinning my wheels here?
Right, because you're capable of doing so much. Like, you could do anything for a year. You can teach yourself anything. It's like, once you know that, is it a good use of your time?
Yes.
Is it valuable to do that? Like, what's the trade-off? Because time is so expensive sometimes.
It's one of our biggest assets is time. And so for something, I'm realizing I've put a lot of hours into trying to figure this out, and I'm proud of that. And like, I'm putting my head down and I'm doing the work, and that's great. And there's a part of me that's proud of that. But
Right.
at the same time, like you said, is it worth the time? Because doing all of this, whether it's the setup and the editing and all of that, that'll probably take me 4 hours
Right.
to 5 hours versus someone that's what they do, that's what they're passionate about. It's going to take them like 45 minutes or an hour. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, Alyssa, do you want to get better at this? And so sitting in that, like, while you're learning new skills, or just also like learning where you are with stuff, is so interesting. And being okay to make the decision of like, you know what? Nope.
Not today.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not for me. Not my chair. I mean, it is my chair. I'm going to figure out how to solve the problem. But so I'm constantly learning. And so this week, that's been something that I've been trying to sit with and overcome, and being okay with that there's more than one first pancake. And
sometimes you have a full batch. I mean, that is like not ideal. And then you find out, oh, I've been using the wrong spatula. The oven setting is, I mean, like, there's always those kinds of things. Like cookies. I mean, you make a big double batch of cookies accidentally with salt instead of sugar. I mean, I've done that.
Stop.
Where like an entire ingredient is lacking, or was just something that you're like, okay, well, I could continue to be stubborn and make this entire batch of foul cookies, or, whatever this is that I am not going to enjoy, but I went through the work, so I'm going to start and complete it regardless. Or you recognize, like, yeah, this is a bad batch, and I'm aware of it, and I know how much work I put into it, but like, it's not going to benefit me to move further. But like, you have to kind of sit in it to assess. You have to taste them. Like, you have to like marinate in like what you just ingested or like took in, to say like, yeah, okay, actually, I do care about this enough, and I can make myself, whatever it is, like, I can take this on, or like, I am capable of doing this out of desperation. And when we get past point of desperation, I no longer have to do this. You know what I mean? It's like, when you start out in most jobs, like, you're not like the ideal role in when you first start. Like, you do have to do some things you don't love. Like, you get to
There's
a point
learning
then
curve.
that you
it's
can
a process.
Yeah, you're like, I no longer need to do it this way, or like, now it's going to be someone else's job when I learn this other, I don't know. But like, I think challenging, and you have to have quite a few bad pancakes before you realize, at least I guess speaking for myself, to like start and complete something that is like for naught, or like a waste, or like a failure, quote unquote. And I mean, that's when like you've done it and you marinate in it and you finish it, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I didn't need to do that. I could have stopped halfway. I think, speaking for myself, growing up with don't say no, like always take an opportunity, always, whatever, but do the best, which I'm sure everyone's parents like, do your best, do the best, whatever.
Right.
But like also stay somewhere, like be loyalty to a workplace, loyalty to a person, loyalty to a project can kind of get muddled to be stubbornness of it has to be complete.
Right.
And that's my sometimes issue is I'm like, I still need to finish this. I need to cross the task off the list, but like it's a waste. And it took me a little bit of time to realize like it's okay to cut something. It's okay to fire something. It's okay to fire myself from a project, from a post, from a makeup, from a look, like, you know what I mean? Like a terrible outfit. You can recognize before you go out, like, hello, you know what? This is not a good look for me. And as much time as I just wasted to put this together, I know that there's a fallback that I can go to, and it's okay. And I don't have to, like, go out there looking like this and then being upset the whole event, whatever, because I'm not happy and comfortable. Like, that's a move. And I used to think that not completing something regardless was, like, worse than like calling it quits somewhere. And I don't know exactly how I got that like mentality, but enough things that I did that I looked back was like,
I didn't.
Why? That was unnecessary. And I should have spun my wheels longer than I needed to, and then I was upset because I spun, like that cycle
because of the time. And it's interesting. I feel like y'all. I'm getting really excited because that's a whole other button in terms of follow through and commitment. And like that mentality of that is what you're supposed to do. It's the right thing.
You stay on the wheel.
It's like, no, actually, the right thing to do is what is best for you. It might not be like best for what like the other,
whatever the commitment might be.
Right. But you got to do what you need to do for you, and other people or whatever situation you're in, they will either understand that or not and realize like, damn, it's not. In some cases, it is personal. Sometimes it's business. It all depends on the situation.
Right.
But that's so interesting in how you learn how to do that and be okay with doing so. Because, that fear of being a failure or being a flake or dropping the ball, seeming unprofessional,
yes,
all of the bullshit.
The list goes on and big.
And so being like, nope. I'm going to learn from this and realize that's not how I have to operate. That's not how I choose to want to grow. And so I love that in terms of the insight
I wish that I could
shared.
say that like I had that plan, but that like none of those things really came together until that like moment that it like came out of my mouth.
So that's something that's
like I'm
learning.
I'm learning that I just learned that.
We're learning here together, y'all, and growing. Like we had said, always learning, and I love that. I think it's so important, and sometimes it takes some longer than others to learn.
I mean, there are definitely things that I feel like have been thrown in my face of like you need to learn from this, and I'm still like. There's a thing actually way over there.
I'm not ready to learn.
You know what I like? Yeah, by no means am I able to spot things in the moment that I'm like, yeah, this is a moment that I like could be learning, but I'm choosing to learn something completely ridiculous or out of the planet where we are right now. But like, yeah, learning. That's why I like listening to podcasts that are more people talking about their learnings also, because it gets me in the cycle of like, if I apply myself here, like how can I apply, or like, what am I doing that's like parallel or opposite?
Oh.
And like, cause I don't, actively seek out a ton of learning. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I had time
Okay.
to actively seek out learning.
That's not true, Mama. You're learning Spanish right now.
I mean,
What are you talking about?
yes, but that's like there are bigger things like someday that I'm like, I would like to take the time to learn like this thing, but
What's one of them?
I actually would like to learn Italian also,
Oh.
language. There's languages that I'd like to learn.
Okay.
But there's like hobbies, like I think it'd be cool to do like woodworking DIY stuff. But that's like when I
Really?
retire.
Okay.
You know, like
Okay.
there are things that I'm like, yeah, someday I want to be like, I want to skydive by myself. You know, like that kind of thing. But that
Right.
also I have from the day that I went skydiving, I was like, I'm going to do this when I retire. Like this
Got
will
it.
be, I'm going to learn this when I'm
Why wouldn't you
when I
retire,
have time to
though?
learn it. I mean, because it's expensive, so
Right? But I mean, we gonna get to a point where it'd be like, yo, bitch.
when I want to commit to learning those kinds of things, like I want that to be all I'm doing. I don't want to juggle that in.
You don't want to. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a point that I want to get to that I'm like, I'm done, and I'm gonna do this for 6 months, and then I'll do this other thing for 6 months.
I got
Because
you.
that way I haven't overcommitted because you know I feel like short
She's
commit.
like, we're still learning about that, and y'all learning about Alyssa right now in terms of
We're learning about the amount of commitment we would like to keep.
yes, because you're like, I can't not cross it off of my list,
Right, like I
because
just
then-
want to cross it off the list, but like move on to the next thing.
like it has to be.
I'm gonna sew
completely-
someday. I'm gonna make a dress,
Oh.
but like I don't want to do that forever. I also don't want to do that right now.
No, I love this. I love this. I'm the opposite in terms of not. I don't like to wait. I'm a bit impatient. I have learned. I've gotten better, but when I get my mind on something that I want to do and it matters enough to me in that moment, I'm like, oh,
I mean, yes.
I'm learning how to do this. I'm figuring it out. This is what I want because it's the next thing that's going to get me to the next me that I want to be. And so I just, yeah, little different. And man, sometimes also learning and being okay with where you are is
Like in relation to what you're learning.
where you want to be, like in relation
Oh
to
yeah, I mean because
or like not wanting to learn a lesson yet. And you're like, nope, I'm not ready. I know better. I know. but I'm
you
not ready to
don't see
learn.
that happening over there.
Yep. I am very well aware, but this is where I am, and so anyway. Yo, this is a whole ass. There's so many different avenues.
Yeah, I feel like
learning.
this was more tangent learning, but I think it would be fun more so than helpful maybe for me. Just to go into like other aspects of learning and like the little avenues of learning. Like what do we want to learn someday versus like what did you learn that was a waste of your fucking time?
Yo.
Or like what's something you learned that you thought was a waste of your time and then when did it come in clutch? I think those are my favorite learning stories. Like
Give me that one more time.
what did you learn that you thought was a waste of your time, but later came in clutch?
Ooh,
Like,
I love that. Okay. Y'all drop one below.
yes.
Please. Yes.
some scenarios because I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm like, I know there are stories.
Right?
So I want to hear them.
For me, like, I love information, but for me, when I think of learning, I think of personal growth, like learning about myself and who I actually am instead of who I have become based off of what other people have said, have thought, and I'm learning how to be my actual self and letting go of all of those things. So that's what my brain moves to first when I hear the word learning.
That's so wild. I definitely think of like information, like of things that are not related to me at all.
Oh, like learning, like picking up a book or learning
Like,
a skill,
Learning,
or
yeah, like
got
skill or like, yeah, but personal growth is like maybe like third or fourth on the like, what comes to mind when learning is you like that word association. Personal growth is like, it's a couple steps down there.
And it's like I get very curious about how people learn. I've learned I need to get my hands in there, or I need to touch the stove and it's hot and get burnt, even though I know it's hot kind of bitch.
I have always been that. Like, one of my mom's favorite, like, mini-me anecdotes is, like, when they would, like, have the chip bag and they would be like, oh, it's empty. I would be like, no, let me see it. Let me see it. If there's, like, a bear outside, you can't go outside, Alyssa. I would be like, no, let me see it.
I don't believe you. I need to learn and know for myself.
And I'm like, is that trust or is that stubbornness? Or, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? But, like, for most things, yeah, I'm, like, hands-on. Like, I need to... It's a math thing. I'm like, I need to do this like over and over and over until I get it. If I'm cooking, God forbid, I have to fuck it up a couple times before I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. Like,
right?
Yeah. I mean, that's growing up as a dancer, like monkey see, monkey do. Oh. Like, I have to be able to watch something, connect it here visually, and then connect it here physically. Which is like great when it's like anything physical, but when it's not physical, sometimes it's annoying. Like,
I see. Y'all, as you can see, also, we could talk about this all episode, so many different tangents.
We do love learning.
We do, and we will more than likely come back to it. You should drop down some of the things that you have learned as of late, and also maybe like what comes to your mind when you hear the word learning.
Yeah, what's the first thing? Because I think, that's really interesting to see, like, what do other people think of when they think of learning?
Right? And so now... we are going to segue into our push replay. And our comment comes from
Matthew Perkins.
Hey,
shout out to Matthew Perkins. This is coming from our recent button of the week, dealing with guilt. I didn't put my glasses on. Okay. You should never feel guilty about doing something that makes you happy. If you want to go on a date, then give him a thank you. By all means, enjoy yourself.
Ooh.
So, I mean, I think a little bit of learning that goes with that is like, it took a minute to like learn how, like, it's okay to do things for yourself. For me, bada me. It took me a minute to like, to understand that it was okay to like, to do things just for me and like for my benefit versus like other people. Like, not obviously forever, like my entire life, like I have like had selfish moments as a kid and like things, but like truly taking care of yourself, it took me a moment or several moments to like decipher like being selfish versus like taking care. And like I mean, I think people in general just get guilted sometimes for like doing nothing. If literally you need to do nothing, then like people guilt you for like, why aren't you busy? Lazy, but it's like, I need this.
Why are you
like,
shaming me? And I've learned that typically is a projection of them onto you. It has nothing to do with you when people start to guilt and shame you. I mean, like on the other side of that coin, there are people who are saying this from a place of love, and they're looking out for you and trying to, like, it's something that I'm experiencing as of late in terms of, this is what you need to be doing. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty about it, but this is what I believe you need to do because I love you and I want to see you succeed and I want you to be healthy and I want to do, it comes from love.
Yeah.
And so, but there are a lot of times where that guilt or shame that is projected onto someone has to do with something that is unhealed in somebody else, or like how they think about themselves versus,
or that they don't want you to step up if they see that you're like at the almost stepping up, and maybe they're a little envious of that too. I feel like
we all know we have experienced that here in the Buttons world. And I tend to agree. I probably still do have the same.
I was going to say, I know that you have definitely had this problem.
But also feel it took me a while to distinguish guilt about taking care of myself and what I need to do for me. Like, even getting out of toxic situations, like making the best decision for myself. Like, even there have been times where I felt guilty about doing what was best for me. And
that's, I mean, when you are with a toxico, like, because they can see that it benefits you and your growth.
And not them. And it's like, oh, wait, no. And so in that, which is so interesting, again, projecting, they are being selfish. But yet calling that other individual selfish. Oh, I'm selfish
it's like some
because
gaslighting.
I want to do what's best for me. And
that doesn't benefit you at the same time that it benefits me.
Right. So who's actually selfish here?
Because if we're a team and what's good for me is good for you, is good for the gander, like me growing in a different direction should not be an issue for you if you are also trying to grow in a direction that is
right, because you could have still been in my life. But anyway, that was a total personal anecdote.
I mean, that could be applied generally to so many things.
It's like, well, if this would have been handled differently, but it wasn't, and it's fine.
No, and that was a...
Anyway, moving on. Because I've seen this before, but had been nervous about saying it out of my mouth in terms of when people come at you sideways about being selfish or the world doesn't revolve around you. And I'm like, wait a minute. My world revolves around me. I am the sun in my universe, God damn it. So yes, my world does revolve around me. Fuck off. And if you want to be in my orbit, please, like, you are also...
You got to revolve around yourself, but we can revolve together.
Yes, we revolve together, and we're all gonna benefit. We're all gonna win. There's plenty of space, plenty of light.
You stay in your bubble, I'm gonna stay in mine.
And we
bubbles can move.
Cross,
like just don't pop. We don't have to pop each other. Like,
and I do, like, that's different for me than being entitled, than being, I'm to a certain degree, you need to be full of yourself in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Ego can be healthy.
Yes, I can definitely recognize when I am being entitled and I like catch myself in like, wow, you are being a fucking entitled bitch right now. I cannot step out of it that as easily as I have stepped into that moment. And, it's a slow wind down to like check yourself internally. But like, I am very much, I think, aware of like when I'm being entitled versus when I'm like, I fucking desperately need this to like, to just keep going.
Yep.
Or not need to do this maybe to keep going is usually what it is.
And that's okay. And I love that it is becoming normalized, or at least it's new information to me that I learned that I can be like, nope. I give, like, the fucks have been falling heavily away in terms of the decisions that I need to make for myself and learning from those and not being guilty about them. And so that's what we got on that, y'all.
Always learning.
Yes, always learning. So, again, we're your buttons babes. And
like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, download.
Constructive criticism, we're here for it.
I'm like trying to think of anything we missed, but yeah, we do love constructive criticism. Notes. We are aware that the sound is a little struggle bus, so thank you for everyone who has
let us know.
But like we got it. Okay, bye.
Yes. Bye.
Okay, the light went out.
I think something just. Yep. No, that was perfect.